Welcome back to Munchausen's Proxy. I was away for a few days, and so this spoiler review for the Peripheral is a tad late. I'll start off by saying that this episode was a little plotting, a little treading water, and a little good. Not in equal measures, mind you. More like 60% plotting, 30% treading water, and 10% good, give or take. This is another episode that feels like the writers wrote the season before they knew how many episodes Amazon was giving them to tell the story that they had written, and they somehow wound up with a couple of episodes more than the material they had. Then, the showrunner looked at the writers and simply said, "Write some filler, quick!" We begin this week in London, a year after Alita disappeared and was presumably hired by Lev and company to do whatever it was she was up to with Burton and Flynn before going MIA. She runs into the lady that boss lady whacked with her bees in the lobby of RI's building and asks her out for a drink. Apparently they were lovers before Alita decamped, and things seemed to end a little messy between them. They go to a bar and discuss their relationship, Alita acting like she is trying to seduce her, and B-Lady telling her she is married. In the course of their flirtatious discussion, Alita gets her to talk about her work in the secret section of the Research Institute. Dumbass B-Fodder then takes her to see the upside-down pyramid on the ceiling that Alita had Burton's Peripheral hack into in the first episode. She explains what they are doing with the stubs of the past, how they use them to experiment technology on people in the stubs, including tech implants. She shows Alita how they sent implants to the military in the past, and it allows them to hack into the brain chemistry of Marines to decrease their wariness of animals strapped with explosives, and increases their compassion, making them blow themselves up trying to help the dog. Alita is horrified. As they leave, they pass the woman Alita had Flynn kidnapped in the first episode, and the woman stops them, questioning why Alita is in the top secret level. B-Bait slaps her down and subtly threatens her in order to keep the incident to herself. As they get into the elevator, Alita compliments the woman's eyes, the eyes one of which she had implanted into Burton's Peripheral for Flynn to use during the heist. In Key West 2032, an old man opens a package in the mail to find a sonic pistol inside. After he tries it and wrecks his cabinet, he gets a call from Robot Thug offering him $10 million to do the hit on Flynn and Burton, 2.5 of it already sent to his account. When the old man hesitates, suspicious, Robot Thug threatens his daughter who has been living in hiding. Back in North Carolina, which I have been mistakenly calling Tennessee since they did not specify where in Appalachia it was, Flynn is getting an MRI. While in the machine, she is having flashbacks of the exposition dump the people in the future gave her at the end of the last episode. Why? Who knows? Because that is the end of the scene. We then see old hitman guy sitting at the bar in a bowling alley. Behind him are an old man and his 4 grown sons having fun bowling. Bowling old guy notices old hitman guy and goes to talk to him. Turns out they were friends in the past and turned enemies. Bowling guy made the mistake of threatening his daughter, which made hitman guy hide her. Robot Thug used bowling guy to spur old hitman guy to take the contract. He's trying to make it so bowling guy won't go after his daughter when the sons approach and offer to escort him to the door. Old hitman guy sighs, gets up, makes like he's leaving, and shoots them all. The woman behind the bar tries to shoot him with a shotgun, and he shoots her too before leaving. In his car, he gets another call from Robot Thug giving him the coordinates for where Flynn will be for a medical procedure and where she lives. One of the sons comes out, blood soaking his abdomen, and tries to shoot the hitman with the bar woman's shotgun. Hitman uses the sonic pistol to shoot his feet under the car and then offers to let him live if he can crawl away before he starts the car, and then runs him over. The next morning, Billy Ann wakes up to start her day, cleaning up around the house before leaving for work. While picking up dirty clothes for laundry, she finds the stack of cash Pickett gave to his nephew to spy on Flynn and Burton. She slaps Jasper awake with it and confronts him over it. He, of course, lies and says there were no strings attached, and Billy Ann buys his BS, making a later scene with Burton leave me with no sympathy for her. Back at the hospital, Flynn is getting a spinal tap because her tests came back as showing her with a virus that acts like meningitis, that focuses on the optic section of the brain. The hitman stops on a bridge overlooking a river to call his daughter. He cryptically warns her that she needs to move, hiding herself as best she can, and that he probably won't see her again. She tearfully tells him she is pregnant before they say goodbye. Billy Ann then drives up and offers to help him with his engine trouble. He assures her that he has somebody coming, and she starts to drive away. Then, predictably, she stops and comes back. He is seeing his opportunity go right down the drain and is about to kill her when Flynn and Burton drive up to see if they can help. Hitman tries to shoot them with the sonic gun, and Burton tries to drive off. Scraping the bridge for a few feet, Burton winds up crashing into the bridge's stone railing, making the airbags deploy. He gets out and shoots the hitman in the chest a couple of times, but the guy keeps getting up. Billy Ann then shoots him in the back with a shotgun, and it is apparent he is wearing body armor. They hold him on his knees for the police when Deputy Dumbass arrives. He questions Burton and then Flynn about what happened. He tries to get Flynn to tell him what is going on, mentioning that he noticed that they kept the hitman alive, since killing him would have gotten the feds involved. She assures him that they are doing nothing wrong. He tries again to get her to open up with him by reminding her of an incident from their childhood, but she clams up and leaves. On the ride home, Billy Ann and Burton get into it over Billy Ann knowing all about what they are up to and who her husband is. She sticks up for Jasper and, because of the scene with her husband earlier, I have zero sympathy for her. Flynn sticks up for Billy Ann when they get into the house, and Burton scowls at her. He then tells her he regrets not killing the hitman. When they get inside, they notice their mother is not in the house. They see her out back with their cousin and realize they need to come clean with her. After she hears the whole story, she worries over being dependent on the people from the future. What if she stops taking the drugs they give her? Will she die? If so, that leaves them relying on the future people not only for the money they have, but for Mom's life as well. Meanwhile, Deputy Dumbass is ferrying Hitman to lockup. Hitman starts trying to get into his head, talking about what Flynn must be up to for someone to pay him so much, guessing that he is not ex-military and more than a little out of his depth. He then offers Deputy Dumbass the $2.5 million he was already paid to let him go. He guesses that if he is booked, then what happens next will be pleasant for neither the hitman nor the town. Just as Deputy Dumbass is about to angrily reply, they get hit with an invisible car, flipping them over on the side of the country road. While Deputy Dumbass is trying to get out, he sees someone approach and then drag Hitman from the car. By the time he gets himself out, they are gone. Flynn decides to go into the sim to get some answers. Wilf and Flynn sit across the street from the research institute, and she asks Wilf if he linked with her in order to get her to be sympathetic to him, to trust him. He assures her that was not his intention. Then he asks her what she thinks she's going to get out of going into RI, and tells her a story about how the boarding school he went to as a child was taken over by thugs. He wound up killing the leader with a knife and shooting the rest. That was how he met Lev, rescuing him and other oligarch kids from the thugs. He warns her not to go into RI unless she can deal with the consequences of what happens. When she walks into the lobby, the concierge asks her if she can help. Flynn just asks if her face was scanned when she walked in, and is told of course it was. Flynn replies that was all she needs just as Boss Lady walks out. They talk, and Boss Lady tells Flynn that she just wants what Flynn stole. Flynn tells her that she has no idea what she's talking about, and Boss Lady muses that it means Alita has it. Flynn tells her she just wants the hits on her family to stop, and Boss Lady laughs when Flynn threatens to kill her. She tells Flynn that her body is just a peripheral. The two trade barbs, and then they fight. Flynn snaps Boss Lady's neck. Yeah, that's how they end the episode. As I said at the beginning, not much here. As a matter of fact, going back over it like that, I think I might have overestimated the amount of good by a percentage point or 3. Not much gets advanced in this episode. We get a little backstory about Alita, Bee-Lady, Eyeball Lady, and Wilf. We get a couple of scenes with Hitman before the actual attempt at a hit. We get what better be a setup scene for either almighty betrayal of Billy Ann by Jasper, or Billy Ann waking the hell up and seeing her husband for what he is, namely a spineless worm dancing on the end of his uncle's hook. And we get Flynn snapping Boss Lady's neck. Now, about that last one. The preview for the next episode suggests that it was not actually a peripheral, since we see cops beginning to investigate a murder by a peripheral. So, who knows? But that 4-sentence recap shows how bare and filler this episode really was. We are basically treading water these last 2 episodes, with an almighty exposition dump last week and a filler episode this week. We now have 3 episodes left, and while Flynn and Burton are interesting characters to follow, they are not interesting enough to justify a TV show. Wilf is also interesting, but they are not doing anything with him other than using him as a guide to the future. Alita is really good, but thus far she has been scant in this show, acting more as a catalyst for everything to happen around rather than developing her any. Nothing is connecting to a story that is moving and engaging. It is more stuttering in its pace, stalling out the last 2 episodes with only brief sputterings of life before crapping out again. There is a good show here. If only the writers and showrunner would stop marveling at their own brilliance and realize they are boring their audience with episodes like this. The cast is good. The scenery is gorgeous, the concept is intriguing, and the overarching storyline they are trying to tell should be an enthralling tale that weaves the viewer into the worlds it is exploring. Instead, we get messaging and fluff and exposition and filler, interspersed ever so infrequently with thrilling action scenes that end far too quickly, and mesmerizing interactions between characters that we know can be written better because they have shown us in this season. If they can tighten up the writing and cut down on the fat, The Peripheral should be a hit for Amazon Prime, something they desperately need following the debacle known as the Rings of Power. However, and this is a big caveat, I don't know if the people in charge of Amazon care if their product is good or not. They certainly did not care when it came to butchering the Wheel of Time in the Rings of Power, and they allowed the writers at The Boys to decimate what was a good hit for them after the first season. Jennifer Salke, the head of Amazon Studios, was brought in following the Me Tooing of her predecessor by a female producer at Amazon. Since she came in, she has canned a Conan the Barbarian show with the showrunners of House of the Dragon, wrecked a beloved novel series by the late, great Robert Jordan, and butchered the most beloved literary series in fantasy, but only after making sure Christopher Tolkien was dead and buried so he would not interfere. Nothing at Amazon Studios is making me think they are anything other than another carbon copy of the stupidity currently running Hollywood right now. A carbon copy that has the same inability to find competent writers and showrunners, and then leave them the hell alone to do what creative people do. And I'm afraid that The Peripheral, if things don't change in the next 3 episodes, will become the latest victim of the assembly line mentality, churning out garbage show after dumpster fire movie the studios are left with these days. which would be a shame given its potential. I don't know if Amazon deciding to change showrunners for Season 2 is a good sign or a sign of the end for this show. I guess only time will tell. That is all I have for this video. If you like what I do here, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, share the video, and leave a comment or constructive criticism below. It really does help, and I thank you for watching to the end. My social media and Patreon are in the description, and I will see you in the next video. Tschüss.